Alright, hello. I guess I'm going to kick things off back at this scene at the start of the Taylor Swift video, The Fate of Ophelia. Okay? Um, boy. Yeah, let's just start from here, and I want to say that there's a lot of stuff in the back catalogue that's going to tie into this video, and I'm literally like, we've got all these tabs to get through, but there's a whole bunch more stuff that I've cut out of this to try and make it short enough. A whole bunch of number jumps and a whole bunch more interesting stuff. And like I say, there's so much little bits of tie-ins now back to previous videos that I can't do everything all in this video. Okay, so that's sort of the caveat to the kind of the precursor to this whole video is the fact that this is only a small part of it. Okay, so I showed you this the other day. This is a reference to the Hoover Dam here. Okay, we've got the water flowing down the stair steps here. We've got the Hoover vacuum thing going here. The Hoover Dam. Okay. Now, what they zoom in on here, I don't really want to play any of this. Let's go 5 seconds on. They're gonna zoom in on this picture of Ophelia, which is Taylor Swift in in one of the in a painting of Ophelia. Okay. Now, I didn't do Hamlet at school, so I don't know a lot about Hamlet at all. But what I did is I thought, I saw this just not too long ago with a character that I've been looking at, which was, let me click on it. We're taking a bit of a sidetrack now straight away. We're going to look at this film Hamlet, okay, with Kenneth Branagh. Okay, now the reason why I pick on him and the reason why I came straight to this is because I noticed this the other day when I was looking at Kenneth Branagh. Why was I looking at Kenneth Branagh? Because he is in, let me see, a whole bunch of stuff here that ties into Charlie Kirk. Okay, so supporting roles in films such as Dunkirk, and then there's Tenet. Okay, so we had that. We were talking about that in the 1010 reference in the Erica Kirk Emerson Drive video. Okay, and we were looking at the Sata Square and how that all tied in with Charlie Kirk. And then look at this, Oppenheimer. Now, if you look up Oppenheimer's actual birthday, I believe it's the 22nd of April, which is the opposite date, is the twin date for 9/10. Okay, so these references with Oppenheimer is pretty interesting as well with Charlie Kirk. Anyway, notice that Kenneth Branagh, his middle name is Charles, and we also had the Kenny shooting Charles in Hard Rain. Okay, and what else do we have? There was something else with Kenneth Branagh, and I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter anyway. So he's in an absolute, he's loaded, right? Anyway, this film is pretty much his baby. Okay, Hamlet, directed by Kenneth Branagh. Okay, screenplay by him as well. Okay, and he is starring in it. Okay, so as probably Prince Hamlet, I think. Anyway, what we want to do, I noticed that Robin Williams was in this as well, which is kind of interesting with tiebacks with Madonna, because he has the death date matches up with Rocco Ritchie, Madonna's son's birthday, and what we really wanted to look at was who is playing Ophelia, and of course it's Kate Winslet. Now, we had a bunch of stuff tying in with Madonna and Kate Winslet earlier on in the year. Leonardo DiCaprio ties all in with this. All the connections to Titanic. There's an absolute ton of stuff, right, in the back catalogue. To interesting dates that tie in. what I want to say is, even though something didn't happen on those particular dates tie in with they tie everything back together. Okay. Oh. Notice the runtime of this, 242 minutes. Okay, the 242 shows up an absolute ton. In fact, I just showed you the I don't want to get this wrong, but I think the vending machine bomb in Die Hard with a Vengeance that I just showed you that had the corn syrup in, I'm pretty sure it had a 42 number on the outside of it for the temperature. Notice this as well. Christmas release date, quite nice. Okay. Anyway, Kate Winslet is playing Ophelia. Okay. Now, what is interesting about this whole thing here is there is a whole bunch of references. Obviously, there's this little reference here, which is quite nice with the tie-in with Titanic. Yeah. I notice it kind of reminds me of the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. There's definitely, to me that's a Titanic reference. I wasn't really going to go through the actual video too much, but towards the end of it, there's a couple of references to Travis Kelce as well, with a room number here and a football and a yada yada yada, a bunch of other stuff. And then right at the very end, there's a nice little reference back to The Shining here. Okay, and then obviously the death of Ophelia here, drowning. Now, what do I want to do? Let's do some number jumps, okay? So okay, we're okay so far. This is Kate Winslet's birthday through to Travis Kelce. Notice the 105. Notice the 105. Remember that from 9/11 through to Christmas, notice we had Christmas reference with Hamlet there, the film. 9/11 through to Christmas is 105 days. Okay. So this already starts looking interesting. And then notice the 14 reference here, 14 years. Yeah, the clock tower. Remember the clock tower, you flip it upside down. Okay. The pyramidal type triangular top of that thing is the hull of the boat, and then you have 4 columns. Okay, the 4 columns are what? Are the funnels on the Titanic. Titanic hit the iceberg on 4/14. Okay, Titanic set sail on the 10th of April. Yeah, 14. Okay, there's just a ton of 14 references. Okay, and through to, I believe it was, I can't remember exactly what date. I want to say it was either the 2nd or the 1st of September. 9/1 numerology. I believe it was 4/1/4/1, 4 days since the Titanic's sinking. Okay. Anyway, I had a ton of connections to Titanic and Pi and everything, but 14 super important. So there's 14. Again, is re-referenced with Robin Williams being in the film as well. So we've got Travis Kelce here. Okay, soon to be Mr. Swift. Okay, because we know he's going to be in charge of that one. Okay, and then we've got Robin Williams. Actually, this is Rocco Ritchie through to Robin Williams. Again, 14 years. So that was, I thought that was interesting. This tie back with the sun, and of course they're referencing Christmas in that Hamlet there. Now, let's do something interesting. Let's go from Kate Winslet's birthday through to 10/22, this date I've got pegged out for Madonna. Okay, and obviously I'll just say this up front now. Even though we're looking at the 22nd, just just unclick that, if this thing would work, and move it on to the 23rd. So 1023 works for a lot of these dates I'm going to show you. 1023 also works, which is 123, which is also important numerology. Okay, but for right now we're just going to refer to it as 1022. Okay, now note this, look at this, 18281. Again, we're back with palindromic numbers here, mirror numbers, balance numbers, and we're at the 182. Okay, now of course Matthew Perry, with his birthday being very close to Madonna's birthday, his is the 19th of August, hers is the 16th. They're just 3 days inclusive apart. Very interesting, and you can flip those two numbers around, rotate them, and you can get they're the same number basically. So that 6 becomes the 9. Also, we've done a bunch of stuff with him. He's got a bunch of tie-ins to the Hoover Dam. And I mean, we've done so many tie-ins with him. We also did a bunch of tie-ins with oh, what's her face? Can't think of her name now. Julia Roberts, and we did Erin Brockovich, that tie-in with Julia Roberts. And also, don't forget that Erin Brockovich was actually a beauty queen. It's kind of interesting with Charlie Kirk's little reference there. But this number super duper ties into those two characters, at least, with the death date and birthdays there. Okay, but that's not where we're going with this. 182. Somebody died that we've had a lot of people talking about, in decodes, and we've got this connection back with Superman with him, and a lot of connections back to war type situations. Okay, war films. Anyway, and that is this character. I don't know if I've got him up here. Yeah, Gene Hackman. Yeah, supposedly died on the 18th of February this year. Okay, and I from reading, it looked like maybe it was to do with, they were able to calculate that to do with his pacemaker. Okay, so they've got circa here, but 218 is the date they're giving us. Right now, we had a whole bunch of stuff with this film, The French Connection, tying back to, and I don't have the number jump in here for the sandwich event that happened with the Subway sandwich. But the release date of this, let's keep in mind this 1/7 numerology, October the 7th and 71, and then we've got the 1004, well 104 again with the clock tower numbers. Okay, so the French Connection. Let me just show you something in the French Connection, because I probably ought to do this anyway, because this would actually tie us, Madonna, back to Charlie Kirk again. Okay, so what we have is we have a train scene, but pre this train scene, okay, I'll get back to it. I thought I actually had it up in the right spot, but obviously for some reason, and it may be that this is just the whole train scene, so I must have it up on another tab somewhere. Hang on a second. Here it is. So prior to that train scene, and in that train crashes at the end there, and Gene Hackman shoots, or Popeye, whatever his name is in the film, shoots the baddie character. Okay, right now, prior to that scene, this is what initiates the whole chase. Okay, which is a sniper scene. Now, notice this in this scene. This kind of reminds me of The Shining here. Notice we have the school bus. Yeah, the school bus is in several little bits and pieces, but just most recently we were just looking at what was we looking at? Falling Down, and right in that scene where he shoots a bazooka, there's a school bus stop area right next door to that as well. I think, and So there's this little bit. Gene's going to come around the corner here, and as he's coming around, let's see, there's a gunshot, and this lady takes the fall for him, okay, and notice this pram that gets released here. It kind of reminded me of Ghostbusters 2, when the pram gets away from Sigourney. Anyway, there is a sniper in this scene, okay, and he's up on a roof back over here. We don't really need to go through this, but what I'm trying to do is link this sniper assassination attempt back to the connection with Madonna. Madonna has the same gematria as train, highly linked, okay, and so that train scene again is talking about I think it's to do with Madonna, okay, that little train crash that they have there, okay, and so we have a sniper scene right before that in the French Connection, because we're going to get on to what the French Connection. I've already done this little, actually let's just do it now, right? The French Connection is the Channel Tunnel, okay, and so you might have heard other channels talking about the subway sandwich incident in DC. I think it was Washington DC, when a guy threw a subway sandwich at a security cop type person, okay. You know, I did have a number jump for that. If I can find it on my bit of paper, I'll tell you what it was, but there was an interesting number jump from that sandwich event through to, I can't remember what date it was now, so we're not going to dwell on it, but there was an interesting number jump. But anyway, the subway, yeah, and a lot of people have been referencing the submarine as well. We've got the Red October submarine, Hunt for Red October, which we will come on to in a minute as well. But that is the subway right here. It's the tunnel, yeah, the tunnel, the tunnel that connects France and England, the French Connection. Okay, so we're going to go through a lot of stuff here that's going to tie back with the tunnel, the French Connection, Gene Hackman, and what I think. So this is going to be here's the prediction right now is Madonna's going to die in the Channel Tunnel. There may be a train wreck, or she may die on the train in the tunnel. I'm not quite sure, but that's what I reckon is going to happen. So that is really going out on a limb there, isn't it? Because we're not just saying Madonna's going to die on the 22nd of October. We're going to say she's going to die in the Channel Tunnel, or something to do with the Channel Tunnel on that day to do with Madonna. Okay. Again, this kind of mimics Diana. Again, she was in France, the French Connection, dying in the tunnel. Yeah, we'll probably come on to that in a minute. Look at the numbers here. 5-1, 1.5. Yeah. Kate Winslet. Okay. The 5th of October. Travis Kelce, the 5th of October. 105 days from 9/11 to Christmas. Yeah. So this is what I think is going to happen. Coincidentally, I did do a little decode talking about this earlier on in the year, but not for this date. It was for an earlier date that we were looking at, and it was interesting as well. Anyway, let me show you something now. So keep that. That's the kind of, this is where we're headed for. This idea of the Channel Tunnel and Madonna dying, something to do with the Channel Tunnel, dying in the Channel Tunnel, and maybe a train crash in the Channel Tunnel. Okay. Now, I don't know. Maybe we could have an accident at the Channel Tunnel the same day as Madonna dies, something like that. You know, crazy news. Or just an incident there on the same day that Madonna dies. Who knows? But we're going to have, I think there's going to be that connection. Okay, stop waffling down. So we did Gene Hackman. Now what is interesting, so this Kate Winslet with the palindromic 218 numerology. Now let's look at something right here. let's look at Gene Hackman's death through to 10/22. Okay, now 247 popped up, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is really what led me into this decode. Actually, is this number here, the 247 popping up. If you've watched my stuff before, you know exactly what I'm going to show you now to do with the 247. Let's have a look. Where are we? This scene in GoldenEye. This is the tank and train scene in GoldenEye, is to do with Madonna. Right at the start of this sequence, they reference Boys and Toys, and at the end of the sequence, they reference it as well. Boy Toy again. Okay, Madonna, Boy Toy. Okay, if you know, she's got a number of music videos where Boy Toy shows up on, you know, like the back of a jacket or on a belt or whatever. Okay, so the Boy Toy, yeah, the living doll. Here's the 247, and where's it at? The bloody tunnel. Yeah, at the start of the tunnel. Yeah, Gene Hackman. Okay, from his death through to 10/22, 247 days. It's the beginning of the tunnel, the French Connection. Gene Hackman, the French Connection. That film. Okay. Notice as well the four pillars here on the edge of the tunnel, which would indicate, you know, a bit like the Hoover Dam with the four pillars, the clock tower. This is the metaphysical gateway, the monolith, the black hole. Okay. The train tracks, the end of the line. Got the tank sitting here. We did this with connecting back with Hulk Hogan. Now we're going to look at this red star here. Again, the red star, the five-pointed star, the to do with the moon, to do with the number 5 to do with the metaphysical. Obviously, the five-pointed star, you can tie it back in with other planets as well. But we're just you know, Venus. We're just going to go with the moon and the blood moon here. Okay. Now I know people get bent out of shape about the blood moon. They will actually reference a lot to do with, you know, evil, death, yada yada yada. And yes, every time we're dealing with a reset, we're dealing with death and resurrection. Okay, the end of a cycle, the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, this thing has come back into balance at this point. Okay, right. So blood moon references, and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff, but it all essentially boils down to very similar symbolism. Okay, the feminine and that thing coming back in balance with the living. Okay, now this scene, GoldenEye, I've got some number jumps for GoldenEye, but the train is coming down the tracks, and actually what is mentioned here, I don't think I want to get on and play it. Did you hear? Did you make that out? She said right there. Let me see. Did you hear that? He's going to derail us. I want to show you something that I keep going on about, and it seems to be a regular occurrence in many of my videos to do with. Now, where are we? Where are we with it? Come on. Here it is. The Montparnasse derailment. Okay, now remembering Back to the Future, the train goes off the cliff. This is, I believe, you know, part of that reference here. Now, this is the train that comes through, and in fact, another Gene we looked at Silver Streak, which is another train crash film, well, it has a train crash in it through a station, and that's Gene Wilder in that film. Interesting with the Gene reference. But this derailment is quite a famous one. It happened on the 22nd of October 1895. This is literally 130 years ago will be, it will be the 130th anniversary on this October the 22nd coming up. And so, of course, that is very interesting with the train in Back to the Future, which is 131. Why is that interesting? Because if you include end date, you have 130 years and 1 day, 131. Okay, so the 131 train. And also, I mean, there's some references to 131 passengers, 131 passengers here. Okay, there is also some, look at the time it occurred, 4 o'clock. Yeah, super interesting. Right, we've got the 721 numerology on the train itself. Okay, what was I going to say? You could also go to the 23rd and make the 131 work as well. Okay, so this is interesting with the train. Now look, it's coming, it's derailed. It's the Montparnasse derailment. She's just mentioned here. No, here. He's going to derail us. Okay, he's going to derail the train, and the train is not going to quite make it through that tunnel there. But look, this is an archway here. This is the same archway looking thing here. The train has come through that arch. If you like, it's popped out of the tunnel and it's gone over the edge of the cliff like in Back to the Future, the 131 train. Okay, 22nd of October. I'm going to show you another film that actually ties this back in with an assassination, but I'm not doing it this. I got way too much to do in this film, in this video. But I will show you another film that ties this back into an assassination. Okay, back in with Back to the Future again as well. Right, where did we get to? So we're kind of in the train tunnel thing going on. So I'm going to do some number jumps right now, and then we'll just keep making our way along here. Okay. So this number jump here, the Channel Tunnel. This is the opening date for the Channel Tunnel. Yeah. The 6th of May 94. 6th of May 94. 6th of May 94 through to Madonna's death. Now look at this. This is insane. Let's do something here. Let me write this out so you can see this numerology. It's in the right order as well. Okay. So if I put a 0 in here, right, we got 10, 14, yeah, 93. Charlie Kirk's birthday in this numerology right here. Channel Tunnel through to maybe Madonna's death here. So that's insane, right? Let's move on to another number jump. What have I got here? Okay, well, I'm going to have to backtrack a little bit here. This is Rosanna Arquette's birthday through to Charlie Kirk, what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday. Notice that it's 66 years, 66 days. Okay, now why am I bringing up Rosanna Arquette? Because she is in Desperately Seeking Susan. I don't know if I've got another connection with that in this video, but Desperately Seeking Susan, she's playing the twin of Madonna. Okay, essentially. Okay, now let me also show you from 9/11/2001 through to 10/14, which is would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday, 8,800 days. In fact, somebody mentioned in the comments, I apologize, they were actually talking about 88 and the 15th as well, because you make that work for the 15th, the 8,800. So the 88 and the 6666. And the reason why this is really interesting again is, let me show you something as well. This clip in Pulp Fiction, we had a connection with Uma Thurman, who's playing Maya Wallace, right, in this film, and she's just died because what she did is she OD'd, I believe. She actually took heroin instead of what she probably thought was cocaine. Okay, back at her house, she got the little baggie out of What the hell? John Travolta's jacket, okay, and I believe that was heroin that he had, but I believe she thought it was cocaine. She snorts it and ODs, okay. Now they've got to get her going again, okay, because heroin is like a sedative, I think. So they've got to give her the adrenaline to the heart, to the bullseye, yeah, the little red eye that is on her chest. Here is Rosanna Arquette in this scene. Here is, so this is the twin for Madonna. Here is the twin for Marty here, okay, Eric Stoltz. And yeah, he plays the Black Marty in Back to the Future. This is why they shot those scenes with him initially and then didn't have him in the rest of the film, was to establish this connection to the Hoover Dam. His birthday is the 30th of September, same as the Hoover Dam, okay? Same day as the year, same day of the year. And John Travolta, guess what his birthday is? 2/18. 2/18. So we're going around in circles. In Saturday Night Fever, okay, he is on a train that says go to Mia in the background, or at some point to do with the train. There is a reference. It's actually Miami, but the way the scene is shot, it says go to Mia. This is Mia here, Maya Wallace. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because this is the death and resurrection scene of what would be Madonna, and we had the earlier on date. Now, okay, follow along with this. Earlier on in the year, we had her birthday. I don't have the number jump up, but it was like 20202, and it was to like the 20th of August. And what was interesting about that was that 20th of August was a date that we'd been looking at, and I believe it was the date. Let me see if I've got the number jump in here. I thought I left it in here. Hang on. I'll tell you what, there's so much. There's so much. So here we go. Let's go back to this one. Hopefully it doesn't delete it. Okay, good. So this is, I want to just show you this connection very quickly, right? So this was Eli Manning's birthday, okay? And Eli Manning is was connected to all the Peyton Manning stuff earlier on in the year with Ozzy, okay, and this football reference and all the rest of it, okay. But so this is Eli Manning's birthday. Now this is the I Pet Goat and also Madonna's halftime Super Bowl halftime show decode, and also they shone the Cologne FC football club, again with the football reference logo up on the Hoover Dam, and that was this decode, okay, and it was 16363, okay, which from his birthday he was the man of the match, he was the MVP. And if you look at the I Pet Goat thing, it spells out Eli in her tears, in the Black Madonna's tears. Okay, so if you know this, where I'm talking about in I Pet Goat, then this will make a lot of sense. Okay, and in the Super Bowl thing, she's dancing on the dam like a goat. Okay, and that is the symbolism that they shone on the Hoover Dam. Okay, so without doing the whole decode here, anyway. This number is super duper important with balance. It's a reference to the numbers 11 and 18, okay? That's all I'm going to say, right? You just divide 18 by 11, and this is the number you're going to get. Anyway, to cut a long story short, if we go back to the 20th of August, we also get a number that works for that decode. And this was the date I was looking at. I was going crazy about because of this decode, okay? 1.63 is the number on the Cologne FC logo that they shone on the Hoover Dam. But if you do the 18 divided by 11, okay, you are going to get 1.63636363 reoccurring, okay? just goes on forever. So this number also works for that decode, and this date also works for that decode. I've got it up on another, I can't remember what video it's in now, but it's up there in the back catalogue. Anyway, the point is that 820 tied in with Mia Wallace, yeah, in Pulp Fiction, okay, and that scene with the ODing there, okay, and her birthday, yeah, Uma Thurman's birthday, Uma Thurman, whatever her name is, okay. Also note, Pulp Fiction, release date, October 14th, okay. So crazy. Don't forget Madonna's daughter, whatever her name is, what is it? Lundus or whatever, Leon. She's got the October 14th. I think it's 96. Okay, and don't forget her father is Carlos Charles. Okay. Anyway, notice that, yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is in this. Yeah. Okay. Oh dear, just it's absolutely loaded. Anyway, and Bruce Willis as well. you just can't, you know. So you go around in circles with this stuff, right? So anyway, super duper important, right? The 88. What do we have here? This was, yeah. So this was 66 years, 66 days. Oh, let me show you something else with 66. I don't know if I've got the number jump in here. I might have to just tell you what it is. Hang on, let's have a look. I don't think I got it in here, and I'm not gonna get another one of these things up because the computer's about to have a meltdown. But let me tell you what the number jump is, because I got it written on my bit of paper. If you go from the and this is interesting with turning point, if you go from the Channel Tunnel date 5694 through to the Channel Tunnel, that's supposed to be a tunnel, through to turning point. Now actually, let me just write this out. So if you go from the Channel Tunnel, which is 5694, through to 6512, which is turning point, it's 6606 days. Okay, now notice as well, isn't that interesting with the Channel Tunnel and turning point? Yeah, these things being, you know, like a flipped around date. Absolutely crazy there as well. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind, right? What else do I have to say before I get off of? Before I forget as well, the release date of this Ophelia thing, of the, I think the whole album Life of a Showgirl, was the 3rd, or at least the release date of this song, I think. Oh, it says premiered on October the 5th. No doubt. But I think somewhere, and I want to say, I don't know if I've got it up here actually now. I don't think so. Ah, yeah, I do. Let's have a look. Let's see. Yeah, look here, released the 3rd of October, okay? So the album released the 3rd of October. Now, that is 19 days before the 22nd, the 19 again, okay? Pi 19, 1, 9, 10, 9. Okay, so you get that where I'm going with that little reference there as well, before I forget. Okay, what else have we got here? So we've done that. We've done the 666 ref. I just thought that was interesting. Just because this had shown up in my number jumps, the 666 had shown up as well, and I was like, we did all this. This is the reason why this is so interesting, because we were looking at her, and we were also, for that 820 date, we were doing a lot of decodes with Magic Johnson that tied into 666. So this was just fascinating that she was, you know, Arquette now connecting him with Charlie Kirk. Now, why this date is still super relevant because this is again 28 days on to our next event, maybe if after Madonna maybe happens, but the reference to Charlie Kirk's birthday is and I actually have something else interesting. I'll show you in just 1 second. 28 days on, yeah, Donnie Darko, 28 days on the end of the world, right? The 10th of November, 10, 11, 11, 10, right? Let me show you something. Where is it? I had it in here as well. I was like, you know what, I'll just leave that in because it was interesting. Not that we really needed it, but this was the Channel Tunnel through to Charlie Kirk's last birthday. So that was his last birthday there. Okay, now look at the number jump from the Channel Tunnel through to his last birthday. 11119. Crazy, crazy stuff. Okay. Let's just try and keep in order here. I've got another big number jump to show you. We've done that. We kind of hinted again. 88. Remember Donnie Darko? 88 referenced in there a lot. Okay, the birthday. 8800 days on from 9/11 referenced in Donnie Darko, and then 28 days later. Ugh. Okay. This is what we want to look at. This was crazy, right? I'm going to show you something now that's gonna, I think, might blow your mind. Okay, so with all this talk, I want it right here. So with all this talk about tunnels, right? In Back to the Future 2, Marty is trying to get the almanac back from Biff, and they have this scene in the, I think it's the Mount. I think it's called the Mount Hollywood Tunnel, but it's at the Griffith Observatory, okay, or Griffith Observatory Park. So you know, or it might even be called the Griffith Tunnel as well. I don't really know. But anyway, so I have this whole thing going on here. Now check out this number here, okay, 96427. Now reverse that number, okay, 27469. Now it's already got the 274 numerology in it, which is kind of interesting, but 27469. Now remember that. Let's see if I can get onto it. No, that's the next one. Hang on a minute. I've got to go jump back here in a second. Where is it? No. This is the problem. When you don't organise down, it really is painful. And actually, maybe we've gone by it. Maybe it's up here somewhere. Here it is. 27469. That is the reversed number plate there in that scene. Okay, 27469. Now, check this out. That is going backwards from 1022 back to a date here. Again, 88. We've got the 195 numerology with the year 1950. Okay, just coincidentally, the almanac is stats from 1950 to 2000. So 1950 and 88. Crazy again. Anyway, we get back to this date. I went and looked this date up because it looked fascinating to me with the 88, and I thought, you know, there might be something crazy about this. So this is the number off of Biff's number plate, yeah? Now let's look. Now where is she? So it takes me back to, again, somebody that is in the water, a woman in the water she is swimming in the water though, and well, I got that highlighted. It's this character here, Florence May. What a great name as well, with to do with water and May and Chadwick. Okay, look at her birthday, November the 9th, 1918. Again, 9/11 stuff. Died March 15th. Okay, now remember, 11/11, November the 11th, is the 315th day of the year. The 10th of November is the 314th, Pi Day again. And again, the 15th of March, you could read that 153, the 153 fish. That is the balance point between the Twin Towers. Yeah, when you're on that line, that is the gateway, being balanced, not going into either reality, staying in that gateway. The fish, okay? Hence, it's used for a symbol for Christ, yeah, the fish being balanced. 153, she is the fish. She's swimming the channel, yeah? She's a swimmer. She's swimming the channel. Let me show you. She broke a record. And look at this, at the age of 32. You know, we're just talking about this 32nd birthday of Kurt coming up, right? 8/8/1950. She crosses the English Channel from France to England in 13 hours 23 minutes, breaking the record. So she's a record breaker here on the 8/8/1950. She does it the other way as well. Okay, 16:22, 16 hours 22. Yeah, super duper interesting, right? Now, why is this? Because she's going across the channel. The channel tunnel has eliminated the need to swim now. Okay, the channel tunnel. She's swimming the channel. Okay, so you get this reference. The 153, the fish, the 153 is that tunnel. Okay, it's the entrance to the tunnel, should I say. Okay, super interesting references here. That is in Back to the Future, in the Griffith Tunnel, yeah, under Hollywood there, or wherever it is, okay, close by. There is the number plate, the cart, the hoverboard, the Hoover connecting back to this, the hoverboard scene, coming out of the tunnel, being reborn. Marty's going to get back out of the tunnel, be reborn, okay, and go back up with Doc. Biff's going to crash into the Jones pile of poo again, yeah? Remember we had all the connections with Vinnie Jones, okay. Anyway, I've got some number jumps with, I don't have some number jumps with that tunnel, but I want to show you something really quickly. If you're a long-time watcher of the channel, you will know that there is a Back to the Future decode in this chart of Lorraine here. And you draw the clock tower in, okay? So this is important because we're going to come on to this set of numbers which forms the lightning. The 55 stylized is the lightning. And then the line, the zip line, comes through 9/11 here. And the fire trails are formed here, which comes all the way back down through here. We've got pi referenced in here as well, 314, which the fire trails make the symbols of pi. And also we have on the side of the building, we have the Western Auto number 9. This 0 should be a 9, technically speaking. There isn't really a 0 in the Fibonacci cycle, so to speak. So you can interchange the 0 with a 9 here. It makes the 9/11 right here. Okay, the fire trails again. We've talked about Mayday down here is referenced. In fact, Mayday is referenced coming out of a tunnel in A View to a Kill with Roger Moore, 10/14. We're just talking about Moonraker. So Mayday is referenced there coming out of a tunnel. And here is 510 as well in my chart. And obviously you can just put a 0 in next to the 5-1 here as well, make 510, which is, I believe, when that was opened. The Griffith Tunnel was opened on the 10th of May 1928. Okay, so we have the 128 numerology there with 1928 as well, or the 28 numerology. But anyway, sorry that's a bit scribbly. Old people know what I'm going on about here. Also notice that the top of the clock tower is 55 and 11. The bottom of it is 55 as well. Okay, yeah, here's the 14 for the clock. Okay, so that's the sort of very quick. I'm going to need a cough. Messy version of that. But anyway, this tunnel again shows up. I tell you what, it shows up in a multitude of films. It's in dozens of films. This tunnel. The one that I just rewatched it the other day was War Games. Okay, and in War Games, Matthew Broderick, which is David Lightman, they got to convince Stephen Falcon, whatever the hell his name is, to and there's a little war reference there as well with the Falkland Wars, and it is a very British reference as well that they use in that film, which is interesting because he keeps his British accent as well, Professor Falcon. And also there is a reference, so they're running for the tunnel, but they've got to get down the tunnel in the film to get into the bunker, right? Previous to that, they've got to convince the English guy to help them, right? In between getting to the tunnel and convincing the English guy to help them, right, there is a reference to swimming, and David Lightman can't swim. That's the reference, okay? So they can't really make it back. They have to get on a helicopter to make it back, but he can't swim. There's a reference to being able to swim and a reference to an English guy on an island. And a reference to England, maybe. Kind of random, but I know. But if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about, okay? There is another reference which we'll come on to in just a minute with, and let me just mention it now. In the film, in War Games, the film, there is a reference to the dam, and it's a 48-48 reference. This is going to become super important in a minute. Let me show you the number jump for the French Connection for the film through to Madonna's birthday. And I'll tell you where that reference is in War Games. It's right at the start when he's playing, I don't know what, Space Invader or something. I think it's Gallagher. He's in an arcade, he's playing that computer game, and he says the word damn, and I can't remember if it's the score or what, something on the screen anyway is at 48-48. Okay, now let me show you this connection with the French Connection here. Where the hell is that gone? Maybe hopefully I've got that in here. If I don't, I will put, here it is. So this is the release of the French Connection. Notice again the 1771 numerology. Super important with Diana again, because Diana's birthday, the French Connection, Diana's birthday is the 1st of July. And you know, all this stuff, and there's been a lot of stuff to do with mirrors, and mirrors to do with the number 7. Anyway, 4800 even through to Madonna's birthday, 4800 days. Now let me show you, let's do something here now. So the channel tunnel, okay, and I believe it's I want to say it was the Eurostar that went through there as well at one point in time. Yeah, look, serviced by Eurostar. Okay, so we've got this star reference as well with the tunnel here. Now let me let's go back to, oh dear, the other tunnel thing. Where the hell is it? So this tunnel thing and this star that is on. Oh, we've got a star on we've got the red star there as well. And can we get back to the blooming? We don't want that. Where was it, people? Dan, you're going too far one way, you're going too far the other way. Here it is. It's right at the start of it. Come on. Okay, well, this is good. It's really right at the start of it. I know where it is. Something right here. I wish I hadn't have unclicked it now. Okay, well anyway, at the top of that tunnel. Gosh, so annoying. I know it's not the end of it. It's being in too much of a hurry here. Anyway, wherever it is, at the top of the tunnel, there's the red star. We just talked about it. Okay. Anyway, that red star. Let me show you something, right? Before we lose complete track of where we're going with this. The red star, Wonder Woman. Okay. And actually, the connection back. I'll have to mention this now. So the red star right here. This is Diana Prince, Princess Diana. Okay. With the red star on the crown, on the forehead. We've had this reference show up several times with Madonna. We've had it in Massive Attack video. We've had it in that's what I want to mention. It's in Desperately Seeking Susan. There is a reference to Wonder Woman in that. Notice when Wonder Woman's first published, 21st of October. Okay, that's a super duper tie into the 22nd, and it's also that is the actual date of the future date in Back to the Future 2. Okay, it's the 21st of October that they go to, 2015. Okay, and the newspaper is October the 22nd. Okay, but anyway, this red star in the middle of her forehead here. Okay, again, there is a connection back with a character called this is also interesting. Charles showing up in here as well if you read through this stuff. But anyway, there is a connection back with a character called I think it's Octobriana. Billy Idol has a tattoo of Octobriana, and what that is another comic character that looks a lot like Wonder Woman, except she's got blonde hair, and she's based on the same idea basically. Now, that is all to do with the October Revolution in Russia. Okay, so she also has this red star in her forehead, right? So there is several little connections back now with Wonder Woman, and like we can link back in with the Hunt for Red October, and again Gene Hackman did his own little sub, Crimson Tide. He did a sub film as well, and I don't know if you noticed that Alec Baldwin has been in the news again. Crashed a Range Rover, yeah, kind of interesting, right at this sort of point in October, and this idea of the Hunt for Red October. He's in the Hunt for Red October. There's actually a few references in there that I could probably talk about, but I don't want to get sidetracked. But this idea of revolution, connections back to Russia, this star in the forehead here, and the connection back with Desperately Seeking Susan, like I said, Massive Attack, Wonder Woman, and let me show you this connection now with Wonder Woman, because I had this one, Wonder Woman 84. Okay, Wonder Woman 84. I can't remember what her let's just look at her birthday real quick, make sure I ain't something crazy. Okay, not off the top of my head, but look who they've got also in it. Chris Pine, who plays Captain Kirk. Okay. Oh, and I'm in it as well. This is my lookalike here, Pedro Pascal. Interesting. Anyway, 84, right? WW as well, World War, and we've got 84 referenced here as well. And again with War Games, with the 48, and then with this thing. Where was it? Can't remember now. The 4800 days from Painful Damn Painful, from the French Connection through to Madonna's birth date. This is just mental, okay? You know, I mean, you have to have several little films in the back of your head. Anyway, while I'm on the subject of somebody else I found the other day, interesting with the pike as well, because let's show you this. So this pike reference with World War III reference with the pike, okay, Albert Pike. Notice this with the train. I'll tell you who this character is in just a second. Notice this with the train. 127. Okay, January the 27th. This is the number that's on the Montparnasse train. Okay, it also ties in with Madonna Gematria. She's got the 127 in her name. Rosamund Pike. Okay, now I couldn't find this birthday before, but I want to show you the number jump, and I'll show you why this is interesting. So this is her number jump. Come on, don't lose it. Okay, her birthday through to this death date for Madonna, 17071. This is wonderful in terms of like a reflective number to do with the number 7. Yeah, 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror. So this is to do with the feminine and that gateway. Okay, but yeah, a very nice number. Was there anything interesting about that number? Let's click it or tick it down, find out. The computer's having real issues. It's about to have a meltdown. No, there wasn't anything majorly interesting there. But that palindromic number, very nice. And let me show you the reference to her. Actually, I've got it right here. Okay, so red moon, rose moon. Okay, and again back with Venus and yada yada yada. The Pike reference back with Captain Kirk and Pike. Now she's in this film with Madonna, okay, and it's Die Another Day. Now the release dates for this, I went through these in a previous video. They're super interesting. Note the reference to JFK's assassination date here, and there's a couple of dates that work with some nice number jumps. But Madonna also did the soundtrack for this. I will also say that in here they do have a hovercraft chase at the start of it. They have a over the edge of the cliff thing. It's all loaded for the Hoover Dam, the start of this film. Okay. Also, she is I'm trying to think. She is Verity, right? She's a fencing instructor. Now in Who's That Girl, they have this fencing scene. It's kind of random, right at the they actually have a couple of fencing scenes, but the one I'm thinking about, there's actually 2 or 3 fencing scenes actually, but it's in the film. Okay, it's a reference to I don't really need to click on that. It's a reference to Who's That Girl in this film. Okay, now who is in the fencing scene as well is, okay, she's an undercover double agent, but she's also she's kind of hanging around with this dude, okay, the baddie guy, okay. And look at this. Graves was modeled after Hugo Drax. They couldn't help but to reference Moonraker in here. Look at this, crazy. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was interesting because I just came across her birthday the other. I couldn't find it on. It's not on Wikipedia, so this was interesting. Anyway, so again, that's what I was going to show you. Actually, was the song by Madonna. Let's see if I can. No, why is it taking me? I don't want to go to Madonna. I want to go to the title song. Okay, here it is. Die Another Day. Okay, Die Another Day, October 22nd, Yeah, double down on the 2-2. Also could probably be, it could almost be the next day as well. Let me show you something in the chart of Lorraine, just real quick, to do with that number and the 1-2-3 as well while I'm thinking about it. I've also got this number jump here to show you, but when you go in Lucas numbers right here, now remember I was telling you this is the center of the table here, and these two numbers here, 18 divided by 11 gets you that 1.63 that's in the IPEC GOAT decode. Well, 63 reoccurring. Okay, so you just put your little marks up there. Right. So that gets us to the 22nd or the 23rd of October. Notice that it's in the 10 column here that we're looking at, and it's 1, 2, 3. This is October the 23rd numerology. The total for this point, up to this point here, is right here in the grey. It's 3, 2, 1. Okay. And also, if I were to go back to this point here, is the 47. Remember, that's silver, atomic number for silver. And remember, the Silver Streak train that also crashes through the station was 47, I think. Or it might have been 74, I can't remember. Anyway, the total up to this point is 1, 2, 2. Okay? And again, this is why I was looking at the 20th of August before. Okay? Right. But I just thought it was interesting so you can know that there is a 1, 2, 2 in there, and you just add your 0 in, and you can get your 1022. Here with this 47, right? What else, Dan? What else? Okay. So, and imagine, like before I thought to myself, that would be way too obvious. It's going to be way too obvious the 22nd, isn't it? But after Snake Eyes, anything goes now, I think. This could be, they could just use this date, and everybody be going, oh look, Madonna died on Die Another Day, 10/22. Be absolutely crazy. So we've done that. We've done this connection with her now. Back to it with this crazy, Princess Diana again. I actually was trying to see if I could find a shot of. I'll tell you what I found. I was actually looking to see if I could find a shot of Gene Hackman driving a tank, because I thought, ooh, that would be interesting if he was in a tank, with that Bond sequence. This film right now, A Bridge Too Far, I'm just watching it right now, but it's like 3 hours long. It's actually been pretty good so far. I've made it through about the first 40 minutes. But A Bridge Too Far has got a ton of famous actors in it. I mean, an absolute ton. Gene Hackman, several people that I'm going to show you in the next decode, Robert Redford, Sean Connery. It's just absolutely loaded with famous actors. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a decode on it or not, but anyway, that's actually Michael Caine there, I think, in the film. Okay, anyway, let me see. We've done the whole when the tunnel was built. May 10th, 1928. Yeah, I told you that. Griffith Park, Los Angeles. Okay. What else we've got to show you here? Here's this. Look at this number jump here. This is from the tunnel date to Madonna's birthday. Okay. The tunnel date to Madonna's birthday. Now look, 11:05, 11:055. Yeah. Again, this is just right here, the top of the clock tower in the chart. Yeah. Mental, absolutely mental. Okay. What else, Dan? Come on. We'll just kind of make our way through some of these number jumps now. I don't know what this one is, whether it's something good or not. I don't think that was anything good. This was that tunnel through to the Channel Tunnel. Was there something interesting about this? Oh, I know what was interesting about this. It's like a reverse 2412 2142 with the composite. I just thought, you know, you come across little bits and pieces like that. That was kind of fascinating. Yeah, because it reads one way and then it reads the other way with the composite number that it is. So that was kind of interesting as well. What else have we got here? Here's another one that was interesting. This is Channel Tunnel through to, oh, well, I wasn't going to do this, but I will just mention this very briefly, okay? Because I don't know if I bother putting it in another video or not. But this is, again, this is another assassination reference. This is Lord Mountbatten's birthday, okay? And this is the tunnel through to Lord Mountbatten's birthday. And you'll notice it's 10181. Now, this is kind of random. Why am I talking about him? Now, if you do a number jump, which is 16858, which is Madonna's birthday, take that number of days and go backwards in time, it will take you to the 27th of August 1979, and on that day Lord Mountbatten was in Northern Ireland, and I think it was kind of an IRA retaliatory thing for Bloody Sunday, and they bombed the British Army somewhat, and he was assassinated, he was killed. Okay, so this was just something that was interesting in the background there. I didn't really have any other connections with him apart from that Madonna birthday number jump, take the number of days and jump back, and it took you to that day, which it was marginally interesting with all the connections, like with Snatch, with the Irish connection, again back with Titanic with the Irish connection, with that. What else was there? I'm trying to think. But yeah, anyway, just fascinating that it came out on an actual, you know, the cousin of the Queen. I think the cousin of the Queen or something like that, being killed. So a big figurehead person being killed, and again connecting back with Madonna. I haven't actually sat down and looked at that properly yet to see what kind of connections there are, but there is a little connection there with, and I wonder whether there's more of a connection, but with Pulp Fiction. Where's bloody Pulp Fiction gone? This character here, she is from Northern Ireland, so again, she's randomly in this. Could that be a connection back to that event? Maybe. I haven't looked into it. What else have I got in here? I think we're getting to a point. We've done that. What was this one? This is, I can't remember what that is. 4/29/1970. I really should write down on some of this stuff actually. Can't remember if that might have been her, or that might have been, I can't remember if that was Uma Thurman's birthday. Dear oh dear Dan. This is the problem with too many dates. Now a minute. What was it? What was her birthday? 29th. Yeah, it is Uma Thurman's birthday. Okay. You can see that is through to Madonna's birthday. We've got the 274 showing up in here again. Marginally interesting as well. This was more of a personal reference for me. My old telephone number 2724. It's kind of interesting. Not quite the right numbers, but you know, I've mentioned it before with the, you know. I think I'm running out of stuff to do here now. What was this one? Did we just do this one? Yeah, that was the one that was reading backwards and forwards. That was Lord Mountbatten. Well, I don't have to do a decode on that now if it's not anything interesting. This was, I don't think this was interesting. This was the Super Bowl through to halftime. Oh, 2215. No, that wasn't interesting either. I don't know why I got this number jumping in, to be quite honest. Here's an interesting one. This is the Channel Tunnel through to what is it? Why have I got? What is this now? I'm trying to think what 5-4 was. This is the end of Madonna's tour. That's what that is. I think I got this in the old Channel Tunnel prediction, a little while back. But what was interesting about this was, so from the Channel Tunnel through to the end of her tour, 10957. Now this is, again, this showed up before. This was Guy Ritchie. We were looking at this with connecting Guy Ritchie back with Charlie Kirk. I can't remember what the number jump was, but it was the same number here. I can't remember what the dates were. It was this is, hang on, what did I just say? This is Guy Ritchie's 57th birthday right here. Was this year, okay, on 10/9, okay, and it was his 57th birthday this year. So anyway, we looked at this number with a different set of jumps here to do with Guy Ritchie and to do with Charlie Kirk. I can't remember what it was though, but remember this came up as, this is an interesting prime number, 1331, okay. Who Desperately Seeking Susan has the room number 1313, and obviously Charlie Kirk with his numbers, which were 31 years, 331 days, similar stuff. Okay, we've done that. What was this one? This is the first, I'm going to say this is the first train that went through. It's a freight train that went through the Channel Tunnel, 6194 through to her death. Look at this. Look at these numbers here. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Just an interesting looking number. It's got Donald Trump's birthday number in the middle. Got the 114 on one side. We've got 66 there. D-Day. Yada yada yada. It just was interesting looking. What's this one? This was interesting as well, because this number came up before for something as well. What was it? This is the release of GoldenEye, if I'm recalling correctly. So this is a release of the film GoldenEye through to her death. Look at it. It's got Charlie Kirk's death date on it. 10/9/25. So that was another interesting one. What else have I got down here? The Grey Sports Almanac. Let me show you the 1950 on there. The swimming reference. Notice that Marty goes swimming in that scene as well. Goes in the drink, and he's kind of crossing a channel to get back to the clock tower. And there is an entrance to a tunnel there right by the end of that as well. So I really should have had that scene up. But you'll note that the mall shops there's a tunnel that can take you into the shopping center there, okay, that's under there. So there's this idea of a tunnel going through, so the Channel Tunnel again. And I think I want to say it's like a 175 or something like that. Maybe it's 75 shops or 25 shops, something like that anyway. And those numbers, let me show you this with Diana. That's 7575 that was up earlier. So this is the tunnel this is to do with the tunnel that Diana died in. Okay, and look at the coordinates as well. The 48 showing up here, the 153 with the total length. I think this is for the bridge portion of it. I believe there's a tunnel and a bridge. Look at the 42. You know, look at the 502. There is a number jump. 502. Note that she did her Super Bowl thing on 2/5. It was on the 5th of February 2012 when she did it. Maybe I don't have that one in here either. So from Charlie Kirk's, from the Channel Tunnel back to Charlie Kirk's birthday is 205 days. Yeah, 2/5 again. Okay. And I was just mentioning about Vinnie Jones. If you go from Vinnie Jones's birthday, I think it was something like 22205 days through to from his birthday through to the so another 25 reference through to the 22nd of October. So again, lots of 25 references, and again in Die Hard with a Vengeance, they reference the quarters in it and the bridge. They need a bunch of quarters to get across the bridge, so the quarter and the bridge is referenced again. Okay, 502 feet. I think I'm going to leave it there because it's starting to get a really whiffly waffly now. Okay. I've got several other little bits and pieces in terms of number jumps that I could talk about, but for right now, I'm just looking at my bit of paper. I'm pretty much done. Okay, for this decode because it's probably long enough already. But the point is, all these references to tunnels, the tunnel, this tunnel, it's in so many films. What else? The Channel Tunnel, the French Connection. There's just so many connections. It's just crazy. This whole thing with the train wreck. I'm going to show you another film after this one. I'm probably not going to do it tonight. It's getting really late. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I think I'm done. I'm going to call it. Hopefully I haven't missed too much out of there. There you got a sneak peek of what I'm going to show you. If you look at them thumbnails there in a minute. Okay, thanks for watching. And I will catch you on another one soon. Alright, cheers. Bye.